Good morning. It is my pleasure and honor to be chair of the Ontario Bar Association's class action section in this inaugural year of the OBA Award for Excellence in Class Actions. And I'm pleased to be presenting this inaugural award to Yasminka Kelajic. Yasminka is an associate professor at Windsor Law, where she has been training the next generation of class action lawyers since 2009. I could go on for a very long time about her academic and professional achievements. Instead, I commend you to her bio, CV, and long list of publications. Yasminka has been a loyal friend of the class action section over the years and contributed to many of our programs. Above all, she embodies what the OBA class action law section has strived for, and that is tireless, nonpartisan work and advocacy for the betterment of Ontario's class action regime. I will only refer to two recent examples. Yasminka served as co-principal researcher and author of the Law Commission of Ontario's 2019 class action report. Her leadership shined in that process. She brought class action stakeholders together for over a year to find common ground on ways to improve the system after a quarter century. As a result, the Law Commission offered the public and the legislature a transparent, nonpartisan, and informed path forward in its report. To the extent that this government followed the Law Commission's recommendations in amending the Class Proceedings Act, our system benefited. The second example is Yasminka's role as founder and director of the Class Action Clinic. The clinic filled a gap in helping class members navigate the class action process. My personal practice gives me the privilege of daily communications with class members, and I see the value that the clinic provides to them. The clinic helps class members who are the reason why we all can practice in this area, the reason why we have a class action system to begin with. So congratulations, Yasminka, from the OBA Class Action Law section. And with that, I would next like to pass the mic to our friend and colleague, OBA President, Karen Perron. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohsen. Bonjour, good morning, everyone. I'd like to begin with acknowledgement that I'm speaking to you today from the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe people. I recognize their rich history and enduring contribution, and with tremendous appreciation and respect, offer my gratitude for their care of this land over thousands of years. On behalf of the OBA Board of Directors, I'd like to welcome you and thank you for joining in this celebration of Yasminka. In the stressful and occasionally isolating circumstances we've all been experiencing, which I hope will be over very, very soon, I think it's important to seize opportunities to focus on the positive, the champions of good, and the change makers among us, and to find strength and camaraderie in community. So I'm pleased that the OBA's Class Actions section members have come together in the virtual realm to pay tribute to a very deserving recipient of this award. I am very excited to be here this morning at the beginning of what has become a premier event for class actions lawyers in Canada. And it's an honor to be able to congratulate Yasminka for the honor her colleagues are giving her today. These awards are designed to recognize true excellence in each practice area. And as I look at the contributions Yasminka has made not only to the profession, but to justice in this province and country, I can see how she is really very well deserving. The OBA knows a thing or two about educating lawyers and the value that brings to improving justice for everyone. You just have to look at the agenda and speakers for today's program to see that. Yasminka's career is a demonstration of that philosophy as well. She continues to give so much back to the profession and has really made it a priority to ensure the next generation of lawyers are well suited to making the profession and our system even better. At the OBA this year, we've celebrated many lawyers from very diverse backgrounds by using the phrase, standing on the shoulders of giants. Yasminka is definitely one of these giants, and I can't think of a better person to be receiving this award today. So on behalf of the OBA Board of Directors, I would like to extend my very best wishes to her. Enjoy this well-earned celebration. And to all of you, as you continue to navigate through this challenging time, please remember that the OBA is always here to help. Merci, Miigwech, thank you, and enjoy today's program.
Thank you so much, Karen and Mohsen. I'm so honored to receive this inaugural award. I thank those who nominated me and the Class Action Section Executive for selecting me. The organizers of the conference asked me to speak for about 8 minutes. What to say to you about class actions that you don't already know. You're, after all, in the trenches making the law that I have the luxury of analyzing and writing about. My daughter suggested I talk about how I got here. A friend recommended I tell you about what I'm doing now with the Class Action Clinic. And a mentor said I should opine on what class actions might look like in the future. These are 3 good ideas, so here goes. How I got here, where I am, and what class actions should look like in the future. I became involved in class action law by pure happenstance. Class actions were still very new when I graduated law school in 1995, and as far as I can recall, they were not mentioned even once in the entire 3 years I spent at U of T. I articled and was a junior associate at Torys until 98, the year Dabbs and Sun Life was decided. Torys acted for the defendant in that case, and I do remember being asked to prepare a memo on the Class Proceedings Act during my articles. I had to summarize the statute and answer the question, what is a class action? I guess I've been trying to answer that question ever since. When I decided to move back to my hometown of Windsor, I landed at Harvey Strasberg's firm, where of course there was no escaping class actions. My immersion into class action law and practice was swift and deep. I learned from one of the pioneers in the business, for which I'm grateful. But in a practice area known for absent class members, I confess I missed the clients. I've been asked many times why I transitioned from litigation to the academy. There were many reasons, as there usually are when people leave the practice of law. I was mainly attracted to the job of an academic lawyer because I found replacements for those absent clients, students. Students who I could teach, mentor, and help as they embarked on their own, perhaps more well-planned legal careers. I also relish the idea of studying class actions in more depth from both empirical and policy perspectives. Over the past 12 years, I've had the luxury of time to think about class actions and that question posed to me as an articling student. What is a class action? Is it like any other lawsuit, just bigger? Is it qualitatively different than binary litigation, implicating different norms and not just different procedural rules? Is it the cousin of public interest litigation and therefore designed to harness the power of the collective to advance social change? And if so, how are we doing in that pursuit? I spent several years researching and writing about these questions and teaching students to interrogate the premises of class action law while also learning its basic tenets. It was good preparation for what came next. The 2 years I spent working on the Law Commission Class Action Project gave me the unique opportunity to play a part in law reform. It was an intense experience. My co-researcher and friend, Professor Pichet, and I spoke with over 100 stakeholders, representatives from both sides of the bar, judges, in-house counsel, and representatives from industry and civil society. I am proud of the work we did, but I have one regret. We did not speak to nearly enough class members and representative plaintiffs about their experience in the system. There again, the absent clients. The class member experience is under-researched and not at the forefront of most of the discussions in which I've participated over the years. The class as a whole is well served. Experienced class counsel understand their duties to the class as a whole, and judges protect the interests of the class as a whole. But what of individual members? Those are the people I decided needed resources and individual attention. And so in the fall of 2019, with startup funding from the Law Foundation and the full support of my law school, we opened the Class Action Clinic. And that brings me to today. The mission of the clinic is to serve the needs of class members at all stages of a class proceeding. We have a full-time staff lawyer, Andrew Eckhart, and 3 or 4 law students each term. To date, we've helped dozens of clients with their settlement claims and appeals of adjudicators' decisions. The clinic has provided independent legal advice to dozens of class members about participating in a class action, opting out or staying in, and explaining the contents of settlement agreements. The clinic has filed 5 formal objections to proposed settlements, and one of those was ultimately rejected by the presiding judge. We've referred dozens of clients to class action firms with potential new claims and are in the process of drafting intervenor applications in 2 appellate cases on questions of general importance to class members. In other words, I found the absent class members. They are often Indigenous or survivors of trauma or just overwhelmed by the complexity of court notices or claims forms. I am so proud of the work Andrew and the students do on a daily basis. They help people like Helena, who wrote a thank you note saying she was so grateful to the team for providing her the peace of mind to make an educated decision to stay in a medical device class action. Or Melissa, who wrote that our team literally changed her life when we helped her successfully claim compensation on a large settlement. There are many others like them. Finally, where do I see class actions going in the future? We can all speculate about the fields in which class actions will become prevalent: the gig economy, privacy, climate change. What I hope to see in the future of class actions is a renewed focus on what happens after a settlement has been approved. More scholarly attention is needed and best practices need to be developed. Claims processes can and should be class member centric. There are already great examples of such processes, and seeing those procedures through the eyes of the clinic clients has been an education for me, one which the clinic will gladly share. I'm heartened by the support we've received from many lawyers on both sides of the bar who've told me that they appreciate the work we do, even if we have been a wee bit disruptive. I do hope that the clinic will continue to help fill the adversarial void at settlement, contribute to better take-up rates, and support class members who, I've discovered, are not absent after all. If you support the goals of the clinic, please follow us on Twitter @ClassActClinic. Include our contact information on your notices and think of us if there are leftover funds at the conclusion of a settlement distribution. Our operation is lean, but we do believe in paying our summer students. And if we have articling students one day, we will pay them too. Thank you again for this great honor.